The Supreme Court denies Bato de la Rosa's request for a temporary restraining order on his ICC warrant. Senator Pia Cayetano is the new chair of the powerful Blue Ribbon Committee. The House Prosecution Panel unveils the names of lawmakers assigned to the impeachment articles against Vice President Sara Duterte. Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin meet in Beijing to discuss key international issues. And a slain security guard, mosque elder, and Uber driver are hailed as heroes of a mosque shooting in San Diego, California. The Supreme Court denies Senator Bato de la Rosa's request for a temporary restraining order on the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant. The High Court says, quote, the SC only decided on the prayers for interim relief. The main issues raised by the parties in their pleadings and motions are yet to be resolved in the main case. A denial on the merits would have cleared the roadblock on implementing the ICC warrant. The ICC pretrial chamber found reasonable grounds that De La Rosa was criminally liable for the alleged killings under the Davao Death Squad, as well as former President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs. The Justice Department on May 15 said it would only act on De La Rosa's warrant after all legal issues have been resolved by the SC. De La Rosa filed a TRO request with the SC in November 2025 to block his potential arrest, even before the ICC unsealed and confirmed its warrant on May 11. When asked if the Marcos administration would implement the warrant now, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro says the DOJ is the designated agency to respond to such queries. But DOJ spokesperson Rafael Nicolo Martinez says it is now up to Malacanang to make further pronouncements on the matter. Senator Pia Cayetano is the new chair of the powerful Blue Ribbon Committee. This comes after the Senate coup that installed her brother, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, as Senate President. Pia replaces Senator Ping Lacson as the Blue Ribbon Panel Chair. The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee has been investigating alleged corruption in flood control projects. Lacson drew criticism from fellow senators over how he was handling the investigation. He resigned in October 2025 but eventually returned as panel chair on November 11 the same year. He shared the panel's partial report findings and recommendations in a privileged speech earlier in May. The draft report recommended preliminary investigations and the filing of plunder and graft charges against his colleague Senator Chis Escudero, Joel Villanueva, and Jinggoy Estrada. Meantime, Pia also gets emotional during the Senate plenary session as she recalls the May 13 shooting incident.
Para sa amin na nandito, napakaraming nangyari. Takot na takot po ako na kailangan ko na magpaalam sa mga anak ko. 2 pintuan na nagpo-protect sa akin sa putukan.
The House Prosecution Panel in the trial of Vice President Sara Duterte unveils the assigned lawmakers to impeachment articles in a press conference Tuesday, May 19. For Article 1, culpable violation of the Constitution, graft and corruption, and betrayal of public trust related to her alleged misuse of confidential funds. For Article 2, culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayal of public trust related to supposed unexplained wealth. For Article 3, bribery, graft, and corruption, culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayal of public trust related to her alleged monetary gifts to education officials. And for Article 4, culpable violation of the Constitution, high crimes, and betrayal of public trust related to her alleged threats to assassinate President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and former House Speaker Martin Romualdez, and her supposed efforts to incite to sedition against the government. Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin meet for a summit in Beijing to discuss key international issues. This comes after US President Donald Trump's visit to the Chinese capital. While Putin and Trump are deeply at odds with each other, the visits have been hailed by Chinese state media as a recognition of China's current global standing. Putin's visit comes at a time when Chinese-Russian bilateral trade is improving after a downturn last year. Two-way trade rose 16.1% in the first 4 months of this year over the same period in 2025 in value terms. Some 40 documents are expected to be signed, and the 47-page joint statement on their strengthening partnership will be issued. A slain security guard, mosque elder, and Uber driver are hailed as heroes of the shooting at the Islamic Center of San Diego. The three distracted 2 armed assailants and kept 140 school children inside the mosque safe on Monday, May 18. The security guard, Amin Abdullah, engaged in a shootout with the 17 and 18-year-old assailants to thwart the attack. Meantime, mosque elder Mansour Kaziha and Uber driver Nadir Awad also distracted the suspects after they stormed into the building. San Diego Police Chief Scott Wall says Abdullah immediately recognized the two as threats and opened fire on them as they ran past him outside the mosque. Abdullah wound up fatally shot, while Kaziha and Awad were later cornered and also shot in the parking lot. Abdullah transmitted the radio call that activated a security lockdown, which Wall says prevented further bloodshed. The teenage assailants took their own lives shortly after. Imam and director of the Islamic Center, Taha Hassane, says, "We call them our brothers in the community. We call them our martyrs and our heroes." And that's today's wrap. I'm JC Gotinga. Thank you for watching. Click the link below for the full story. For more updates, download the Rappler app.